everyone, welcome to the first session on Advanced MATLAB. In this session, we are going to discuss about the various plotting options available in MATLAB. We will see how to plot equations and how to draw graphs. To plot the graph of a function, you need to take the following steps. Define x by specifying the range of values for the variable x for which the function is to be plotted. Define the function y is a function of x. We need to define that. Call the plot command as plot x, y. Let us plot the simple function y is equal to x for the range of values for x from 0 to 100 with an increment of 5. So this is how you're going to write the program. X is 0 to 100 and the increment value is 5. Y is x and we are plotting x and y. So let's take this to MATLAB and see how does the plot look like. You can see here, this is how the plot will look like. For every value of x, which is 0, y will be 0. For x is 5, y will be 5. Then x is 10, y is 10. So this is a linear graph obtained. Let us take one more example to plot the function y is x square. In this example, we will draw two graphs with the same function, but in the second time, we will reduce the value of increment. Please note that as we decrease the increment, the graph becomes smoother. So this is the first example in this also, and there is another code written. So we'll go for the first code, as you can see here. You can see here, this is the graph obtained. We have written x is 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10. Also we have written x is this range of values that you can see here. Now we are going to have y is x raised to 2 or x square. We are plotting x, y. So we have these values of x as you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10 from here. And y is going to be x square. So that's how you're going to get the values here. And there is another set where it says x is from minus 100 to plus 100. So minus 100 is here to plus 100. So that is the range given. And when you see this value of x, it is going to increment in this fashion of 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10. So when we plot y is x square, this is the kind of graph that we obtain. Now we have another example here which has a increment of only 5. In the previous example, the increment was of 20. Here the increment or decrement, as you can say, is actually of number 5. So when we plot this, you can see that the graph has become more smoother as compared to the previous one. This is the graph that we obtained now, and this was the graph that we had already obtained. I'll show you once again. This was the previous graph obtained. You can see it is not that smooth. So this is how you're going to write the codes and plot the graph of y versus x. But we always write x, y. That's what we need to remember. Now we are going to talk about adding titles, labels, grid lines, and scaling on the graph. MATLAB allows you to add title, labels along the x and y axis, grid lines, and also to adjust the axis to spruce up the graph. The x label and y label commands generate labels along x and y axis. The title command allows you to put a title on the graph. The grid on command allows you to put the grid lines on the graph. The axis equal command allows generating the plot with the same scale factors and the spaces on both axes. The axis square command generates a square plot. These are the various commands that you can use for adding more features to your graph. So we'll see an example. Your x is varying from 0 to 10 and the step is 0.01. We are plotting the function y is sine of x. We'll plot x comma y. Now just look here, what are the extra things added? The first thing that is added is x label. We are going to write there x. Y label is sine axis. The title of the entire graph is going to be sine x graph. We will keep the grid on. So we are going to get the mesh lines at the back end and we are going to have equal axes for x and y. So let's plot this in MATLAB now. Now see the graph. This is the graph of y sine x. You can see here the x-axis has been given a label x. Y-axis has been given a label sine x. The graph entirely has a title sine x graph. There is a grid line which you can see at the back end. Also you can see that this axis is equal. Now if you want to add some changes to this, you can do that. Now another way of doing it is you go to a new script. You can just save it over there. Just clear everything from here. If you want, you can write this as axis square. Now grid was on, so we leave it on. X I can change as x-axis. I can write over here for y label as y is equal to sine x. Just adding some changes to show you. So here also you can write this is the sine graph. So we'll just save this as say A9. So when I run this, you can see here, this is a graph. This is a square that has been obtained. The grid is still on, you can see. The x-axis title has now become x-axis as we had written here. The y-axis title has become y is equal to sine x. You have changed the title of the entire graph as sine x. Now here you can see that this graph has been plotted and these values are not visible. So if you just remove this axis square and grid on and let's run the program again, you can see here the axis is gone and the grid lines are gone and the axis square has also got removed from here. Okay, we will just change this graph a bit. Instead of sine x, we will write cos x. We'll change this as cos and the graph is of cosine. So let's save this as A10. Let's run A10 now. This is the cos graph that is obtained. You can see here the labels have got changed and also the title. Now we'll go for drawing multiple functions on the same graph. You can draw multiple graphs on the same plot. This is an example for it. The value of x is given. We have written y is sine x, g is cos x. And we are going to plot xy. Also we will be plotting xg. Now for xg you can see here a different denotation has been shown and the legend over here is sine x, cos x. We'll take this to MATLAB and see. how it looks like. Okay, you can see here, these are the two graphs that are obtained. Now legend over here is showing the color of these lines. So you can see here the blue line is for the sine graph and the red line is for the cos graph. You can see here that the symbol that we had used, dot dash, has been shown here for cos graph. So when you just zoom it, you can actually see what does that dot dash mean. You can see here that there are certain dots, there is a straight line, again dots, straight line, and that's how the cos graph has been plotted. And this is the sine graph in blue. So this is another way of indicating, and you can also have two graphs in the same plot. Next we'll go for setting colors on graph. MATLAB provides 8 basic color options for drawing graphs. The following table shows the colors and their codes. White is indicated by W, black by K, blue by B, red by R, the cyan color by C, green by G, magenta by M, and yellow by Y. Let's use this example to understand the usage of colors. Let us draw the graph of two polynomials. F of x is 3x raised to 4 plus 2x cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x plus 9, and g of x is 5x cubed plus 9x plus 2. So we need to plot these two graphs. So say x has a range of minus 10 to 10 with a step of 0.01. And here we have written the y polynomial and the g polynomial as these two equations are given. We are going to plot xy in red and xg in green. So let's take this code to MATLAB and see how does it plot the graph. So you can see here, these are the two polynomials plotted in red and green. So these are the colors which have been chosen. Next we'll go for setting the axis scales. The axis command allows you to set the axis scales. You can provide minimum and maximum values for x and y axis using the axis command in the following way. Axis x minimum, x maximum, y minimum, y maximum. So suppose if you take this example, x has a range from 0 to 10. The step is 0.01. Y is showing this equation over here, e raised to minus x into sine of 2x plus 3. This is the equation. This is the function of y. And we are going to plot x comma y. So we have given the axis over here. X axis will be from 0 to 10 and y axis will be from minus 1 to 1. So let's plot this in MATLAB and check. You can see here, this is how the graph has got plotted. Now we were able to set the axis for x and y. So you have from 0 to 10 and from minus 1 to 1. Next we'll go for generating subplots. This also can be done while plotting graphs. When you create an array of plots in the same figure, each of these plots is called a subplot. The subplot command is used for creating subplots. Syntax for the command is subplot m, n, p, where m and n are the number of rows and columns of the plot array and p specifies where to put a particular plot. Each plot created with the subplot command can have its own characteristics. So we'll see an example here. Say y is this function and also it has another function over here. Now suppose if I want to plot both these equations of y. So you can see here x has a range of 0 to 5. The increment is 0.01. Y has this first equation written here and there is a subplot created. M is the number of row, 2 is n, that is number of column, and p, it is going to specify the particular plot. So we are going to plot x comma y, x label x, y label is this entire equation, that is the first one, and the axis is from 0 to 5 for x and -1 to 1 for y. Next we'll write the next equation of y. This is another subplot mn, and this is the particular plot p given here. We are plotting x, y, label x and label y is here, and this is the axis. So let's plot this in MATLAB and see how it looks like. Now you can see here in one graph itself you have got two of them as two subplots. You can see here this is the x label, y label as given. This is the graph of the first equation and this is the graph for the second equation. So that's how you can create subplots. This can be used, say when you have two equations and you want to compare their graphs, you can create subplot one beside the other and you can compare the two graphs. So with this, I end all the options which can be used for plotting of graphs. If you have any doubt, please write to me in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for latest video updates. See you in the next session. Thank you.